wins in their last 6 games, the once ineffective Eskimos have become the CFL's hottest team. But all that momentum won't mean a thing if they don't win tonight. If they lose, their season is over. Win, and the Eskimos faithful can begin dreaming about seeing the home team playing in the Grey Cup. A potential preview of the Western semifinal is next.
That's 3 in a row, guys. 3 in a row. We need how many more?
3 more.
Go Riders, go, right?
Hell yeah!
First time I've ever seen that in my life.
All right.
Riders go.
Let's go green, man.
Yeah, don't adjust your sets. That is Wally Poirot, the BC Lions, saying, "Go Riders, go." That was the scene in the Lions' victorious locker room in Hamilton about 2 hours ago after their 23-21 victory over the Ticats, which means it's quite simple. The Eskimos now have to win tonight in Regina, or it's the Lions that get into the playoffs. Hi, everybody. Dave, Jock, and Matt, and Chris. What a Saturday. We got an early playoff game.
This
is outstanding. There's been one last playoff spot left. It's been 3rd place in the West, and we will find out in about 3 hours who is going to grab it. The Edmonton Eskimos are facing a very grumpy Rider team. They are set in 2nd. They will host the West semifinal next Sunday. They want to change it and get a win tonight against an Eskimo team, Maddie, that's won 5 of its last 6, and they get Ricky Ray back tonight.
That's right. 3 weeks ago, you remember against BC, he rushed for like 135 yards on 12 carries, got all banged up and hurt his shoulder. Yeah, not doing that again, but I don't think he has to. Why? Because he can rely on the offensive line, their protection, and Daniel Porter. These guys have really come together since Tim Princeton has been put on board, the new offensive line coach. Daniel Porter's been spectacular in the last 3 weeks, rushed for 394 yards in those 3 ball games combined, and he's been spectacular. When you control the line of scrimmage, you control the football game. It helps your defense get rest, which helps them to get 2 and outs. And these guys, those big guys right there are making it happen for the Edmonton Eskimos. And I know that Ricky Ray is loving coming back into this. He's fresh. His arm should be live. He's got a running game that's in order, and this team is peaking, Schultze.
Well, the competition I'll be watching closest tonight will be between the 2 competitions, the coverage teams, the return teams, on these 2 football teams, because Jason Armstead has made an impact for these Edmonton Eskimos. He has nice acceleration. He doesn't, hesitate. He just goes when he sees an opportunity, and that is the key to being a good returner. Now, Saskatchewan really doesn't have anybody on their team that is as productive as this Edmonton Eskimo player is. So in this battle, those hidden yards that you don't necessarily see on a statistical chart, that could be game determining. I'm watching for that.
Guys, I'm watching Ken Miller, and in particular, his choice in terms of how much he plays his starters. We saw something fascinating in the earlier game in that Marcel Belfait decided to keep his starters in the entire game when the game was meaningless. This game means nothing to the Riders as well, except for the fact that you're 0-4 going to the playoffs. He does not want to lose this football game, but he also doesn't want to lose one of his starters to injury. Is he going to sit down a Darren Durant or another key player at a key moment of the football game simply because he's waiting for next week with the record they have going into the playoffs? It'll be interesting to watch.
Yeah, exactly. The Edmonton Eskimos have won 3 in a row. They've won 2 of 3 against Saskatchewan so far this season, and it won't mean anything if they don't win tonight on the road in front of Rider Nation. Sit back, enjoy. Good one coming up next. Shirley Higa of Lethbridge, you could win a 2010 Nissan Rogue.
Football on TSN.
Shirley Higa of Lethbridge, you could win a 2010 Nissan Rogue if a kickoff is returned for a touchdown in tonight's game thanks to Safeway's Touchdown to Win promotion. And if a second kickoff is returned, you could win $1 million. Off we go to Mosaic in Regina. Here's Chris Cuthbert and Glenn Suter.
Thank you, David. The BC Lions took care of business in Hamilton, and now the Eskimos must win to be in and try to end their season on the right note as they clash with the Saskatchewan Roughriders at Mosaic. And could we order this weather for the playoffs? Absolutely sensational. 11 degrees, wind will not be a factor.
Well, he's back. The last game Ricky Ray played was 3 weeks ago in BC. Rushed for 135 in that one, threw for 139. He's back from injury earlier than most expected. And Darren Durant, the first Saskatchewan Roughrider throw for 5,000 yards since Kent Austin did it in 1993, but he's got to get this offense back on track and this team back on track.
Well, Ken Miller's Riders, plenty of incentive, trying to snap a 4-game losing streak. That's the longest in his head coaching tenure. And Richie Hall's Eskimos still control their destiny. They've won 2 of 3 against the Saskatchewan Roughriders. And here we go. Armstead on the return across the 30. And Ricky Ray, after 2 weeks off, is back as the starting quarterback for the Edmonton Eskimos.
And it was close to see if Archie Whitlock would be back in the lineup. He is not. One more game on the 9 game for him. So Daniel Porter has 3 100-yard-plus rushing games in a row. Fred Stamps, their leading receiver, 1,105 yards for Mr. Stamps. And one more start for Patrick Afif at left tackle.
Starting lineup brought to you by Rona, proud sponsor of the CFL. Rona, doing it right. Play action fake, and there's Andre Talbot with a catch, and room to roam up the sidelines, pushed out near midfield at the Edmonton 52-yard line. Pickup of 19 on the first pass from Ray.
I think Edmonton fans are wondering if they're going to see a real sharp Ricky Ray through all week. In fact, has been throwing the football for the last couple of weeks, slowly coming back from injury. Quick recognition from Ricky Ray here to get it to Talbot, who does the right thing. Hit straight upfield.
Ricky Ray 6 times under 200 yards passing on the year. And in the last 2 as well. And here's Daniel Porter, who's been lighting it up. 3 consecutive 100-yard rushing games and a first down run on his first touch of the day.
Well, the Saskatchewan defense has got to be better on the run than they have been in the last 8 weeks. And they brought in Rod White out of Texas, 6'5", 300 pounds. Interior defensive lineman, and moved Tad Cornegay from halfback back down to the linebacking core because Chris McKenzie is back at halfback.
Daniel Francis, Sean Lucas out of the lineup for the Roughriders. 12 yards for Porter. 31 on the first 2 plays. Ray goes to the air again, and he's got the wideout, Andrew Nowacki, who's dropped at the Saskatchewan 40-yard line.
Clearly, Ricky Ray has not got some rust to try and brush off in this first series after not playing a couple of weeks. He looks sharp. He's making the quick reads and getting the ball out of his hand.
You're the kinesiology guys. Serratus anterior muscle strain.
I was sleeping in that class. Not sure. Somewhere around his shoulder rib section.
Serious enough that a couple of weeks ago, the Eskimos weren't sure he'd be back. 2nd and 5. Short drop. He's got Fred Stamps and tossed out right at that first down stick. The leading receiver for the Edmonton Eskimos, Stamps, with his 72nd catch of the year.
Ricky Ray has not tested the arm deep, but he is sharp with the throws and his accuracy is there. So, you know, that injury, you're right, Chris, it was one that some thought may cost him the rest of the year, but he's back after a couple of weeks off, and he looks sharp out of the gate.
1 first possession touchdown on the year for Edmonton. Again, quick drop and the pass out of the reach of Andre Talbot.
And that's just a little recognition. You can see Ricky Ray looking to Talbot. He thought that Andre Talbot would go inside, and he was planning for him on the hot simply because Saskatchewan defensively put everyone in the front 7 on the line of scrimmage. So he expected Andre Talbot to run hot inside. He ran it out.
So the Roughriders go to their pass defense set on 2nd and 10. And Ray looks deep, looking for Derek Armstrong, incomplete. On the coverage was Lance Fraser, playing in his 60th game for the Roughriders.
Saskatchewan loading up the line of scrimmage on 2nd down. That's back-to-back plays because they did it on first as well, and that's going to put pressure on the secondary. Here they are on the line, and you count them. You got 7. Well, that 8th one is going to actually back off and cover, but 7 on the line. They have a free man. Ricky Ray half rolls away from that pressure and tries to get it to Derek Armstrong. It looks like Edmonton, if Saskatchewan sends that kind of pressure, is going to go deep and try and get over the top on him.
So Derek Schiavone on to attempt a 41-yarder. And Schiavone puts it through. Eskimos with 3 on their opening possession. The CFL on TSN is brought to you in part by Rona, proud sponsor of the Canadian Football League. Rona, doing it right. So the Eskimos move the football 43 yards, a 41-yard Schiavone field goal, and now Darian Durant to work for the first time as the Roughriders scrimmage at their 35. And Durant looking for Weston Dressler, and flags fly as Dressler interfered with by the defensive nominee from the Edmonton Eskimos, TJ Hill.
Yes, he is. 85 tackles, often asked to go out and cover receivers. This time he's locked up on one of the best in Weston Dressler, who runs a corner route on him.
Pass interference, Edmonton, number 18. Automatic first down.
We'll take a look at this play as TJ Hill is trying to run underneath him. It did look like he looked back for the football, but did he make contact first? There's a little bit of a screening to have his hand in front of Dressler's face before the ball arrives, and he did take a glance, but it was late.
29-yard penalty, first down at the 45, and a pass complete to Kerry Cope. Back-to-back 100-yard games for Cope. And the Riders quickly in field goal range.
Mentioned Darian Durant with first 5,000-yard passing season since Kent Austin in 1993. And he's got to get Wes Cates going as well. Andy Fantus broke out of a bit of a 2-game slump, had 100 yards last week. Plus, and in the offensive line, the offensive lineman nominee for Saskatchewan, Jeremy O'Day at center.
9 for Cope, second and a yard. Wes Cates, first down.
When it comes to run defense, I mentioned Wes Cates will see the ball. That's where Dario Romero and Adam Braidwood come in, but specifically Romero, who's got to dent the pocket and move that line of scrimmage. TJ Hill victimized for one deep one here with a pass interference call, their defensive nominee, and Chris Thompson can try and catch James Patrick if he can get a couple here tonight.
So the Roughriders looking good on their opening possession as well. First down at the Edmonton 32. Durant has a wide open receiver, and there's Jason Claremont with the catch. Trying to help out his old team today as the Lions watch this one.
Darian Durant rushed this throw just a little bit. He saw wide open Claremont on the sideline, because if he throws that one a little more upfield, Claremont probably, well, it's one-on-one for him to score on the play. But the throw brought him back to the sideline. Good first down anyway.
Still looking for his first touchdown as a Saskatchewan Roughrider. At the 16, another Roughrider first down. And the handoff inside Cates, and nothing there. Mo Lloyd, the former Saskatchewan Roughrider, along with Dario Romero there.
And that was Romero. We mentioned him being the key in the run stopping, and he's in the interior of that defensive line, playing right over the veteran and Gene Makowski at left guard. And it's Romero who's going to really stuff the hole first. And watch, just for Rider fans here, the extension of Darian Durant on the fake. He did have the corner, and look to him to go back and maybe pull the ball from Wes Cates in plays like that.
No gain on the play, 2nd and 10. Here comes pressure, and they got him. Mark Rostelli sacks Darian Durant. His 4th sack of the year.
Excellent timing from Mark Rostelli to come from the middle of that linebacking core, and Rostelli's going to time it up well. You can see him on the run here. He started right in the middle, then he's going to loop around the outside, and he is not picked up. As you can see on the inside, Joe Bell will stay and help out on the defensive lineman to get big body on big body, and Mark Rostelli gets home.
Here's Warren Keene, an Eskimo draft choice who was picked number 2 overall, now kicking for the Roughriders. Oh. And Keene has missed a short 32-yard field goal, and Keene is now 1 for 3, taking over for the injured Luka Kanji. The CFL on TSN is brought to you in part by Nissan. Shift the way you move. Great shot of Mosaic. Eskimos dodge a bullet as Warren Keane misses from 32 yards. It's 3-1. Eskimos have won 3 in a row, 5 of their last 6. They have not won 4 consecutive games since 2004. Daniel Porter pulled down, dropped the ball, but play whistle dead at the line of scrimmage.
Baron Simpson, another tackle. He's over 100, 102 coming into this game, and Baron Simpson right there to try and shore up this run defense. He's against the Edmonton Eskimos in 3 games this year, 14 tackles total. You know, and I talked to him before the game and asked him where he ranks this season compared to any of his other 10, and he said it may be his best.
In his 10th year. 2nd and 9. Riders loaded up again. Here they come. Ray gets it away, but it's tipped and a late hit.
Oh, and he's hurt.
And Ricky Ray took another shot. Was that Byron Bullock off the edge?
Oh, he's hurt.
Major foul, roughing a passer. Saskatchewan, number 30. 15 yards, automatic first down.
It is Bullock. And Ray in difficulty, and Jared Zabransky will have to come in.
Byron Bullock comes off the bottom of the line, and they're going to bring Tad Cornegay, so both are free. And it is number 30, Bullock, who's going to put the hit on Ray after he throws. There's the throw, and then a step and a half and into the middle of the back. He went down awkwardly, and it looked like he was favoring his left arm and hand.
Boy, he's taken some shots this year. His last start was the game in BC, where unbelievably he ran 12 times for 135 yards and said he felt like he ran for 400. Took a lot of punishment in that game. And Zabransky has to get warm in a hurry.
Zabransky, last 2 games a starter, is 2-0 as a starter. Didn't have numbers that jumped off the board, but is 2-0.
While Ray gets attention, we'll step out here midway through the first quarter. Remarkably, Ricky Ray is up, and he's going to remain in the game, and he's allowed to do that because it was a roughing the passer penalty.
Well, it looked like a serious injury when he got up and could barely support his left arm. It looked like he went down awkwardly. The training staff came out. Usually that means you're out for at least 3 plays, but if there's a penalty on the play, as you mentioned, you could stay on the field, and Ricky Ray will.
Well, first down up at the 51. And off Porter, and he is smothered. There's Baron Simpson again. Twice stuffing Porter on this series.
Trying to get Daniel Porter to the backside of the formation and in the hole between Montez Murphy. They're trying to get him into this hole. So they've got to beat Baron Simpson across his face. But watch how quickly the middle linebacker will shoot the gap. He beats the block to the inside, shoots the gap on Patrick Afif, and is in the backfield.
Second and long. And the Eskimos started backpedaling, sensing the pressure that was upcoming.
A lot of defenders up in the line of scrimmage on this in this defense.
Procedure. Edmonton, number 61. 5-yard penalty remains, second down.
Kyle Koch back in the lineup at left guard for Edmonton.
They're lining them up again right across the line of scrimmage. You can see all the defenders, the green and white. In fact, they're even bringing in Fred Stamps right here to help in the protection. When you're bringing your best receiver in to block, you're worried about that pressure.
2nd and 17, they're going to make an adjustment to the clock, but
which is a philosophy, by the way, that I don't necessarily agree with, but Looked like the Edmonton Eskimos were going to bring Fred Stamps in there to help in the protection. I'd rather have Fred Stamps go ahead and run a route.
Eskimos getting a taste of what the playoffs will sound like if they come back. And an open receiver's Andre Talbot across midfield. And Talbot very close to a first down. Let's find out where they spot it. Big second and long conversion.
This is what you're going to see a lot from the Edmonton Eskimos of this type of play. They're going to have to get Ricky Ray to roll away from pressure. So if he sees defenders up on the line, 2 linebackers in Mike McCullough and Jarrell Freeman, he's going to try and roll away from that, buy himself an extra second, and then find an open receiver.
Huge first down for the Eskimos, and now Porter straight ahead. And Tad Cornegay and Chris McKenzie will bring him down at the 40-yard line, but that's 8 for Porter.
You know, Barron Simpson has got off to a pretty good start, but he can't be the only one in this Rider defense that's there for run support, because this is an area that they have got to shore up as they head into the playoff game in 1 week. And you can see the hole that is created with just basically Chris McKenzie back there to help at halfback, and Tad Cornegay reacts.
5 times in 6 weeks, 6 and 8. Roughriders have given up over 100 yards rushing to the feature back. Second and short. Porter's got a first down and crashes down around the 31 of the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Yes, it is an issue. The Saskatchewan Roughrider defense, there's their last 6 games. You can see the running backs. There were more yards overall against the Saskatchewan defense, but those are just the starting tailbacks and what they did. Now, Jamal Robertson last week in BC, just 8 carries for him in that game, so they really didn't test it. They still have to see if this defense can stop the run.
First down at the 31, back in the hands of Porter, and tripped up as he gets to the 25-yard line.
They've given up 2,275 yards along the ground, ranked 7th at 133.8 per game in 17 games, that Rider defense. So Ken Miller, it's been a point of emphasis throughout the last couple of weeks, and it can't just be on Barron Simpson. Run defense is a team thing.
And surprisingly, the Edmonton Eskimos have become a run team, ranked 3rd in the league. Second and 4. And they screen it back.
Oh, what a move.
And Porter's got the first down.
And Daniel Porter did a real good job there, because it looked like Tad Cornegay had corralled him. He had jumped into there, and Cornegay, he just makes a miss. It's just a rollout play, and you're going to see Porter slide up into the line like he's going to block and then come underneath, almost like a shovel, but Ricky Ray throws it overhand, and there's a nice move to make Tad Cornegay miss, or he's caught short of the first down.
This drive extended by the Bullock roughing the passer penalty. Now first down for Edmonton inside the 20. Porter takes the pitch. And this time shut down. There's Jarrell Freeman. One of those new linebackers in the absence of Sean Lucas and Daniel Francis. And an injured Saskatchewan Roughrider. And this will be a serious concern. Barron Simpson down.
Yes, it will. And Barron Simpson last week against BC had a bit of a groin issue. He had that all taped up and ready, and the question here was whether or not Ken Miller would leave him in all that long in this game. But this doesn't look like groin. It looked like he was holding his foot lower.
We'll step back out and be right back to Mosaic. So Barron Simpson remains down. And in obvious discomfort, and you'll see why.
Shamari Williams, just look to the left of your screen and you see him go down. His own teammate, Shamari Williams, rolls up on the back of Barron Simpson's legs. Right to the left.
After Jamaica Rector stood him up with that block. So Barron Simpson's up. That's a positive sign, getting some weight on the leg.
But that's one of the toughest guys you'll meet, and you can tell Barron Simpson's in a lot of pain.
So how is this going to impact the Roughriders' run defense?
Well, what they've done in the past is moved Mike McCullough into the middle.
So the 8-year vet called upon now. He's been in this spot before.
They can move Jarrell Freeman as well, a little bigger body at 220. Well, they're about the same size, actually, but Mike McCullough's a little taller. So carries it differently.
Well, when Ray Williams was hurt last year, Mike McCullough went in, and the defense didn't miss a beat. And Barron Simpson getting a nice hand from the fans here.
See that right leg of his is already taped up and wrapped up, and even if he is going to be okay, and we all hope he is, my guess is that's it for him tonight. Either way.
2nd and 9. Ray trying to keep it going. Pressure. Looks for the end zone. Fred Stamp. Touchdown.
Saskatchewan Roughriders, if we've mentioned all quarter long, are showing blitz on the line of scrimmage. They're putting everybody up. No disguise at all. Here they are again. And Ricky Ray sees it and understands one thing. Roll away. You got Fred Stamps on a deep route. You have to throw it before the pressure gets there and let your receiver run underneath it.
Fred Stamps, the MOP nominee from the Edmonton Eskimos, has his 5th touchdown of the year. Extra point from Schiavone. And the Edmonton Eskimos in a must-win situation, off to a good start, leading 10-1.
Some nice route running, too, from Fred Stamps. And he's got the matchup on James Patrick at that slot back position. And as he comes up the field, watch him take a good hard step outside and then flip James Patrick around so he can't stay in his back pedal. Watch him come in. Then he goes that little move outside. Now he's got Patrick having to make a blind turn and then try and find the football and recover, and he can't. Now it's just up to Ricky Ray. Roll away from there. You know pressure's coming, so Ricky Ray's got to roll away. He's got Fred Stamps on the deep one and put enough air on the ball to let his star receiver run underneath it.
Remember, that drive was extended
keep playing football
by a Byron Bullock roughing the passer penalty. They converted on a 2nd and 17. And Ray still getting attention at the bench. Just his 5th touchdown pass in the last 10 games.
Boy, to see your quarterback down, though, I mean, it doesn't matter if you're in the offensive huddle or you're on the sideline as a defense watching. See your quarterback get hit like that, go down, get up, and brush off the trainers. Tell them to go back to the sideline. I'm okay. I'm staying in. And then continue the drive. That can inspire a team.
10 plays, 75-yard touchdown drive. Here's Ryan Bryce Mullen, the former Lion. Good return. Still going. Up to midfield before he's finally brought down. Roughriders have been looking for better kick returns. They get one there, 42 yards. Let's check in with Lee Jones on the sidelines.
Yeah, the Riders having a tough time lately. Of course, they're on their worst losing streak since 2005, and it's starting to show in attendance a little bit. They did sell out this game, but the playoff game still has 2,500 tickets. The last 3 years, their playoff games have sold out within minutes. Now, Darian Durand acknowledges that there is negativity outside of the locker room, but says they don't pay attention to that, and did take a bit of a shot saying true fans realize we're in a slump, and we will get out of it, guys.
Trying to get a response here after the touchdown by the Eskimos, and Wes Cates with some positive yards. And a first down inside the 45.
Well, one thing you know is that the Rider fans will rally. They are frustrated with a 4-game losing streak, and justifiably so. But, Darian Durant in that losing streak has had moments where he's looked real good. He has turned the ball over a little too much in those 4 games. He knows that. Said it after the game last week. But I think this offense will be just fine, and I'm sure the Rider fans here will rally come playoff time.
Chris Zarka lines up as a receiver. Durant look back. Keats again. Cuts back. Gary Romero couldn't come up with the tackle, and Wes Keats powers inside the 35.
There has been some criticism and even suggestions at some point that they should see Ryan Dinwiddie, which of course is not going to happen. And when you take a look at the all-time leading passers in CFL history and their first 75 to 80 games, and just take a look at the pass efficiency, and folks, the names in that category. You're talking 5 Hall of Famers, 3 on their way, and then young Darian Durant ranked 3rd in his first 75 to 80 games. This is the starting quarterback in Saskatchewan.
Durant with his 40th game start tonight. And as you mentioned off the top, only the 3rd Rough Rider quarterback ever over 5,000 yards, leading the league in passing yardage, but still under fire.
Darian Durant just bought a house in Saskatchewan to once again illustrate his commitment to the franchise and to basically send the message not only to his teammates but to the province that he's in it for the long haul. He wants to be the leader of this football team, and they've got a good one at the controls of this offense, even if he has the odd game or two. Remember, this is just his 2nd year as a starter. Took the team to the Grey Cup Championship in year 1.
We do have a pause here, an over-exuberant fan on the field getting escorted off. Durant has been foiled, though, by this Edmonton defense this year. In his previous 3 starts, 238, 211, and 143 passing yards against Edmonton. So the Eskimo defense has been a puzzle he hasn't solved yet.
Greg Peach, one of the reasons for that, him coming off the 9-game injury. This is a different Edmonton defense with him in the lineup.
8 for Kate, so it's 2nd and 2. Dressler in motion. Keats inside. And he should have the first down before getting pushed back. Ken Petway there. Only Corey Boyd has rushed for more first downs this year than Wes Cates.
Think of Darian Durant's numbers last week in the loss to the BC Lions. Completed 56%, threw for 325. Now what he wants to try and eliminate a little bit are the interceptions. 3 interceptions last week. 6 in the 4-game losing streak.
Under a half minute to go here, first quarter. And the quarterback option, the toss is to Cates. And he'll be dragged down inside the 25-yard line. Actually, close to another first down, and they do move the chains.
They're going to get a nice block here from fullback Chris Zarkas. Played sparingly, but he's going to come out and needs to get one block on the linebacker who can make the play here in Rod Davis. He comes out around the edge. He'll leave the end. That's the option guy, and then he makes the nice cut block right here to give Wes Cates a little bit of room on the edge.
So Rod Davis remains down after that block you saw from Chris Zarka.
Javi Glatt getting ready. Talking to new defensive coordinator and assistant coach Mark Nelson on the sideline, trying to get ready for his assignments. Rod Davis will have to go out for 3 plays.
And Mark Rostelli also sees action at that will linebacker spot for Davis.
You know, when you look at Mark Rostelli there, we talked about Greg Peach a moment ago, and then Elliot Richardson, their safety. These are players that this organization really were depending on coming out of training camp to be leaders in the defense, and we're real high on both Greg Peach and Mark Rostelli, and certainly thought that they would be difference makers, and they have been difference makers when they return. All 3 of those players were on the 9-game injury. to start the season. So they didn't have the services of that leadership right down the core of their defense, from that front D line to the linebacking core and into the secondary. They've got them all back, and since then they have been on that winning streak of 5 games in the last 6. And he's been a difference maker as well, as he's worked his way in with Rod Davis.
A couple of touchdowns for Davis on interception returns. This should be the final play of the opening quarter. First down for the Roughriders at the 21. Quick hitter. Looking for Coke, and not much there as he's brought down at the 18. So the final play of the first quarter, it sees the Eskimos with the lead, 10-1 in Regina. Our first quarter numbers are brought to you by Tim Hortons, proud sponsor of the CFL.
You know, I look at the numbers, they're pretty close, but you think about a couple of storylines coming in. One is Ricky Ray. He looked sharp out of the gate after missing 2 weeks. Barron Simpson looked pretty dominant in the run defense and then injured, and we'll have to see how he's doing. He's gone to the locker room, 3 tackles in that first quarter.
Eskimos quarterback gets a scare, but he is back in. Barron Simpson, it doesn't look like we'll be back. Pretty crisp first quarter, as both teams have only had the ball twice and no punts.
You can tell that the playoffs are right around the corner with the play of these quarterbacks, because both look sharp in that first quarter.
The Onraid O'Toole fan club in attendance here at Mosaic. Good looking drive for Darian Durant, and he's 5 for 5 in the game. Looking at 2nd and 7. Short drop, looks to the goal line, and wanted Andy Fantuz incomplete.
He was covered by Lawrence Gordon, and it looked like Andy Fantuz wanted possible penalty flag thrown there. He was trying to work over the middle, and there was contact. Go ahead and roll it, guys. He's going to come and end up right in here. A little bit of contact as Fantuz right by the goalpost gets pulled a little bit by Lawrence Gordon. He gets away with it, and that ball goes incomplete.
So Warren Keane, who missed from 32, from 25 yards out. This time it's through. And it's 10-4 Eskimos. Well, the CFL on TSN. Regular season wraps up tomorrow. Our final game, the Argonauts and the Alouettes. Live coverage here on TSN at 4 o'clock Eastern, 1 Pacific. What a game it was today at Ivor Wynn. Congrats to the Lions, and kudos to the Hamilton Ticats who didn't play out the string.
Yeah, and you know, I have to say, though, very, very surprised that Kevin Glenn played the entire time. That's something that Ken Miller's got to weigh here in this game this evening. How long does Darian Durant play? I know he'd like to see him be successful and get this offense back on track, but nothing changes in the standings no matter what for Saskatchewan here.
Here's Ricky Ray rolling, and that ball dropped by Calvin McCarty. I guess the question is, can the Saskatchewan Roughriders afford to go into the playoffs on a 5-game losing streak?
Yeah, and it's a question, believe me, that's been asked in this province for the last couple of weeks in a big way. And there's a lot of pressure, no question, on Ken Miller and the organization to snap the losing streak and get back in their winning ways. They want to have confidence going in, but well, I tell you, I'm always one to say, rest your guys. The risk of injury is so great. Kevin Glenn played start to finish. We'll see if Darian Durant does.
2nd and 10, here they come. Ray gets it away, and it's complete to Fred Stamps again. Ricky Ray continues to beat the Rough Rider blitz.
Well, he knows what's coming. There's really no disguise from Saskatchewan here. They're going to line again on the line of scrimmage. They're right across the board here. And so Ricky Ray has to get rid of it. He's got Stamps in one. He's got an underneath and Talbot that's open too. He goes over the top of Talbot and onto the over route from Fred Stamps.
$17 to Stamps, a first down. Daniel Porter with that acceleration. Porter kicks it outside, and Omar Morgan will push him out with a little emphasis down around the 30s. 8-yard line.
No penalty flags. Good hold to that left side for Daniel Porter. And the thing that impresses me most about what he's doing is Kyle Koch and Patrick Afif right there to the left. They're going to open up the holes. And what impresses me most about Daniel Porter is how quickly he will hit the hole and accelerate forward. I mean, when he makes his move, he's not chopping his feet. He's making his move while going forward.
Already 8 carries, 54 yards for Porter. Fake to Porter, Ricky Ray looking downfield for Fred Stamps. And Stamps can't bring it down.
He's working on LaRon Mitchell, and out on that wide side corner, LaRon Mitchell, he knows one thing, he's got to seal that inside. He gets that. Now it forces Ricky Ray to throw it outside and over the top to get through him. If Mitchell gives up inside position, you see what happens. The last time they scored with Fred Stamps, he got inside of James Patrick. LaRon Mitchell didn't let him inside.
I know a question Eskimo fans are asking, should there have been a flag?
I think he was okay there. Of course, I am a former defensive back.
No blood, no foul. Second and 10. And Stamps. Red Stamps strung out. He won't get to the first down stick. Pushed out at the 33-yard line. And the field goal team will come on.
Well, it's not a surprise who the Edmonton Eskimos are featuring in this game offensively, and that's to get the ball to Fred Stamps, whether it be deep down the field or it be out in these little swing screens. And he gets some blocking help down there from Derek Armstrong, also Andre Talbot, who came down and made a nice block, but they are going to have to put the field goal team out there.
Riders' top defensive player, James Patrick, with the tackle. Here's Schiavone. Hit from 41, and this from the 40. And Derek Schiavone's done a great job for the Eskimos since taking over for Noel Prefontaine. 13-4 Edmonton. Closed captioning of the CFL on TSN, brought to you by TELUS, proud sponsor of the Canadian Football League. It has been over a month since Darian Durant and the Roughriders won a football game. October 2nd in Toronto. Off to a decent start tonight, but they're down by 9 as they get set to get back on the field. Short kick, and Neil Hughes will field that and get drilled immediately by Mark Rastelli. And we talked to Ken Miller before the game about what he's looking for from his quarterback in this regular season finale.
One of the things needing to improve is ball security, and really Darian needs to go through a stretch of the game where he demonstrates, that he throws the ball accurately and makes good decisions in his approach to the game. And I really want him to be playing well in this football game.
Well, last week there were 3 interceptions in BC against Edmonton head-to-head. There have been 5 interceptions, and the Roughriders have also fumbled 5 times. So ball security head-to-head with a team they may play in the playoffs has been an issue. There's a completion. Coke with another catch.
It is an issue. It's an issue that Darian Durant talked about this week, and he did right after the BC game with his fumbles and his interceptions, and said, he understands that he has to show that ball security. He has to be a little bit smarter with it. But the bottom line being, it's a fine line. I mean, he still has to push the ball down the field.
Second and less than a yard. See if the Roughriders use it as a free play. No, they'll hand it off straight ahead, and Wes Cates will chalk up another first down to the 53.
One way to get on track is to get it to number 83. Andy Fantu's coming off a 109-yard game against the Lions, 1,303 on the season coming in tonight.
And a receiving title in his grasp.
Yes.
Needs 67 to tie Terrence Edwards. 68 to be the first Canadian since Dave Sapungis to win the receiving crown. But so far, nothing yet tonight. Durant, there's Fantus, and close to a first down as he's pulled down by TJ Hill.
Take a look at the last Canadian to lead the Canadian Football League in receiving. That was Dave Sapunjis in 1995. There's the Canadians that have. You have to go back to the 70s and Tony Gabriel and Dirty 30 from 72 Jim in 1972. Jim Young, 1362. I mentioned Andy Fantus closing in on Terrence Edwards. He gets a catch here.
That would be good company. It is a first down, so 10 for Fantus, 57 away.
And this was blitz pickup because the Edmonton Eskimos went with it. Fantus recognizes it, presents a target for Darian Durant, who got rid of it quickly for a first down.
Did get shut out a few weeks ago by Calgary, but has 5 100-yard games on the season, 4 in the last 6 weeks.
And that biggie against Calgary, 255 a few weeks back.
First down, Durant. That's pulled down by Polk, who's been a nice addition, filled the void with the injury to Rob Bagg.
Yes, he has. Back-to-back 100-yard games. Edmonton Eskimos, one of those, had two touchdowns in that one. 2-game total over the last 2 of 13 catches and over 200 yards, 216. And the timing there good with the footwork for Kerry Cope. Keep that one right foot inbounds.
4th catch for him. He says Weston Dressler's really been a early movement here. Dressler's been a great influence on him making an adjustment. A little scrap going on down there as Romero and Peach are jostling with the
it's
big boys
time.
on the Roughriders.
It's playoff time.
Set a tone.
Yeah. Get that short yardage. Those guys down in the trenches in the short yardage, they're going to go at it.
Dario Romero letting them know that if you think I'm a handful this week, wait till next week.
Offside, Edmonton, number 94. 5-yard penalty, first down.
And he likes playing against Saskatchewan. He gets revved up for this rivalry because Dario Romero is going to shoot the gap here about a half second before the snap count and just collapse it in there.
Yep, that's offside. And a Rough Rider first down at the Eskimo 33. Little pump. And down the sidelines looking for Getzlaf, who was being covered by Jason Goss.
Wasn't fooled. Chris Getzlaf looking for his first 1,000-yard season. Came into the game tonight with just over 912 yards. Tries a double move here with the out and then down the sideline. But Jason Goss picks him up nice and forces him to cut inside. Basically taking away his territory.
Getzlaf needing 88 for his first 1,000-yard campaign. 2nd and 10. Durant looking for Getzlaf here, and he can't hang on.
And I think he took a peek. He took a peek because that play developed very well with Kerry Coke running the out to open up that curl inside. He stepped back to the ball nicely, and he did. He just turned his head just before the ball arrived. Concentration left him for a split second. It was just enough. Well executed play until the very end of it.
So Eddie Johnson is in. We've seen Warren Keane miss, and now Johnson, who has had some lower back problems, and that's why they brought Keane in, will try this one from 40 yards out. And he misses it. So field goal problems for the Roughriders. They settle for one. The single makes it 13-5 Edmonton. Back to the sidelines and Lee Jones.
Well, thanks a lot, Chris. You know, R.Q. Whitlock would have been able to play in this game. He was healthy enough after he suffered a foot injury in the Labor Day Classic versus Calgary, but he still had one more game left on a 9-game injured list. And Richie Hall, head coach of the Edmonton Eskimos, said it was a business decision, not a football decision. based on the salary cap, but it sets up an interesting decision next week as far as football goes. Do you bring in Whitlock or Daniel Porter, who's averaging over 100 yards rushing in 3 games, or do you find a way to put in both like a two-headed monster? Guys?
Nice dilemma to have for the Eskimos if there is a next week.
And I think
they stop the run.
Nice, Chris. I think that if they had their choice, they would try and get them both on. Now that's not necessarily just as easy as it is to say it because of the Canadian ratio and other things. They'd have to say who you're taking off, which American comes off, to put Archie Whitlock on if you want to keep Daniel Porter on as well.
2nd and 8. The Eskimos have been good in second down conversions so far. They're 4 for 6. 4-man rush. Ray drops it off, and Fred Stamps in full gallop. Bullock pulls him down, but Stamps with another first down for Edmonton into Rough Rider territory at the 50-yard line.
Fred Stamps looks a little banged up coming out to the end of that play, and he's coming inside on this crossing route, and one of the linebackers for the Riders are going to try and come out of the line of scrimmage here. I believe it's Byron Bullock, number 30. He's going to come out from the line of scrimmage and try and eliminate this crosser, and just misses him here as he steps up. And when I say eliminate, just get in his way to make him restart. He can't do it, so Fred Stamps can get the edge there.
So Stamps gets attention on the sidelines. Drive continues, back to Porter, spins at first contact, and now a flag flies. Porter close to 4, and we'll find out if Porter got helped by a hold.
Fred Stamps missed 3 games this year with a shoulder injury.
Holding. Edmonton, number 56. 10-yard penalty, remains first down.
That's the right guard, Patrick Kabongo.
And the way they're testing him now is to test the shoulders again.
It's a different team with Fred Stamps in the lineup.
Oh, totally,
obviously.
Totally, and lost Kelly Campbell this week in practice.
So 1st and 20. Back at the Edmonton 50. Here comes the heat, and they get to Ricky Ray. Dropped by former Eskimo Montez Murphy.
Right away, the difference felt for the Edmonton Eskimos with no Fred Stamps in the lineup. Montez Murphy is going to get there, but again, Saskatchewan going with 5-man pressure there, not picked up off the edge, so really no blitz there. They were matched up 1-for-1. Fred Stamps back in the lineup, though. He's been the hot receiver for Ricky Ray. He was out that last play, and Ray didn't have a target.
Well, what do you got on 2nd and 26? Looks back this way, and that pass incomplete, but Andrew Nowacki was held up. And the flags fly.
He tried to sell it, and he had an argument because I believe it was Jarrell Freeman, number 50, who was covering and basically grabbing Andrew Nowacki.
No, you can't be going.
And the officials want to clarify whether or not this will be an automatic first down or a 10-yard penalty. Let's find out.
Pass interference, Saskatchewan, number 50. 10-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Is an automatic first down. So 2nd and 26, and the Riders make a mistake.
And Jarrell Freeman is going to grab Andrew Nowacki right there in the backfield. It looks like he's going to be that tight end. Watch 50 step up off the line. Wrap him up there, hold him, not let him go. Ricky Ray turns to look for him. He won't let him go, holds him too long.
Penalties have hurt the Rough Riders. Only 2 for 25, but they've been costly ones. And Porter crossing midfield down to the Roughrider 51.
They have been costly, Chris, because you think of that late hit on Ricky Ray that extended that drive, ended in points, and now the Edmonton Eskimos on 2nd and 26 get a new set of downs because of the penalty by Jarrell Freeman. So not a ton of yardage in this first half, but 2 key penalties to keep drives alive.
Freeman, a second-year guy who has not been a regular starter. Bullock playing in only his 3rd game, so they're missing the experienced guys that are out. Here comes pressure from Freeman and Murphy, and the wide-out throw is complete to Armstead, and the former Roughrider has another Edmonton first down.
Armstead's getting a little more playing time in the receiving corps as they sort of mix him in. Don't be surprised to see Jason Armstead try and run a few of those hit screens. You have a returner playing in the offense, you often want to just get him in space. That time he ran the out to the sideline.
First down, Eskimos, Saskatchewan 45. Ricky Ray 10 for 15 in this first half. And looking for Stamps, and he's got another one. Fred Stamps the catch with LaRon Mitchell in the area, but he didn't track the football.
I know Matt Dunnigan is sitting in the studio right now watching this, and he's going, this is Ricky Ray. Just watch Ray just run the offense. He's the general out there now. He sees the blitz and everyone on the line of scrimmage defensively. He calls the audible on the line of scrimmage, rolls away from pressure, and throws his receiver open, and Fred Stamps right to the sideline. He's being the general out there running that offense right now, textbook.
They said he looked a little rusty earlier in the week. The rust is off, isn't it?
Totally.
First down, time, underneath is Porter, and he got away. And Porter's got another Edmonton first down at the 11.
Ricky Ray's been able to come up with the answer. Some success on first down, but when the Riders have gone blitz, he's been able to get the football to Fred Stamps down the field and in complete control of the offense.
Mike McCullough, James Patrick finally bring him down.
12 of 17.
First and 10 at the Rider 12-yard line. Play action fake. Wants to go into the end zone. One Stamps, incomplete. On the throw behind. The pass comes up short.
Even when Ricky Ray gets in a little trouble, he's trying to find Fred Stamps. He wanted in that play to get Calvin McCarty out of the backfield. He was well covered, so his immediate reaction when things started to break down was to find number 2. They almost hooked up right down by the goal line. Saskatchewan Roughriders are going in halftime now. May want to consider how they could put 2 men on Fred Stamps and try to start to double team him a little bit.
They've been lethal on second down so far in this game. 2nd and 10. A pump, time, end zone, Armstrong batted down. James Patrick on the scene looking for his 10th interception of the year. So the Roughriders defense holds. 2:31 left, first half here at Mosaic. Then we'll check in. GMC Sierra live at the half with Dave, Matt, Schultze, and Jock. And I can imagine that Ricky Ray will be a topic of conversation.
You know, I obviously played against Matt Dunnigan, and I know when you blitzed him, he'd try and beat you deep. He'd make you pay for those blitzes by trying to go over the top. That's what Edmonton's been doing.
Here's Durant under pressure, and that pass falls incomplete at the feet of Wes Cates as Durant was under duress. What do you make of number 4 in this opening half?
You know, I think he's looked pretty good. I really do. He's put together drives of 43 yards, 37 yards, 38 yards. The problem with this Saskatchewan offense right now is they're not finishing. They got to the Edmonton 25-yard line, missed a field goal, got to the 18-yard line, made one, and then got again to the 24-yard line and missed another field goal. So they're just not capping off those drives.
2nd and 10. rolling and looking downfield, and wide open was Claremont all by himself. And Chris Thompson will finally toss him down.
That's what the veteran will give you. I mean, Jason Claremont has a chance here to really help Darian Durant maybe finish off these drives that they can use him. They move him out to the wide receiver spot in this one and have Dressler inside of him, or excuse me, Chris Getzlaff. But look at him just realize the zone defense, and Weldon Brown going way over to Getzlaff in the deep seam and just sitting out on that sideline right on the rail and presenting a target for Darian Durant.
23-yard pickup to the Edmonton 52. Quick hitter, Dressler. And he bounced off TJ Hill, but is finished off at the 49-yard line as the safety, Elliot Richardson, was on the scene in a hurry.
Again, finishing drives as they start to move the football. Pretty good success there on first down. A very manageable situation for Darian Durant here on second down. Doug Barry's offense this year is ranked third in time of possession, and time of possession in this game, again, decent, but just not finishing.
Second in passing yardage, 2nd and 6. Durant, open man, first down. Chris Getzlaff to the Edmonton 32.
That's a good one for Chris Getzlaff to get his confidence back, because he, with this penalty flag.
Yeah, there is a late flag back in the Rough Rider backfield.
Major foul, unnecessary roughness. Edmonton, number 94, 15 yards from the end of the play, automatic first down.
There, Romero gives up 15 more. Big penalty takes it down inside the 20.
Daryl Romero didn't hit the quarterback, but he got up in the face of the offensive lineman trying to block him.
Ball on the 17, first down Rough Riders. Let's see if they can finish this time. Looking for Fantu's incomplete.
Now they're down there again, and this is why they're down there. Daryl Romero right here, and he's, I believe, working on Jeremy O'Day, the center. Slides out, good contact there, but look at the right arm, right up in the face mask of Jeremy O'Day. He gets called for unnecessary roughness there, puts Darian Durant in that red zone one more time.
Second and 10. Can't find anybody. Flushed. And Rod Davis brings him down. Gain of 2 for Durant, who really hasn't taken off in this first half.
You know, he hasn't, but, you know, when I look at the times in the red zone, it just seems to me that Saskatchewan, when they get down close inside that 20, and I mentioned they've been on the 25, 18, 24, and now they're on the 20, and they're trying to go to the end zone again from the 20. Remember, these guys can get in this position a first down without scoring, so they can just continue to run their offense down there, but Durant drops deep. He's looking 3 of 4, now all 4 of 4 receivers in the end zone.
It's like a kicker tryout here for the Rough Riders for the playoffs. Warren Keane back in, and he's got that short attempt, 22 yards out. And it's a 16-8 Edmonton lead. And with 1:18 left in the first half, no punts in this opening half of football.
Nothing wrong with that. Both quarterbacks have moved the football. Darian Durant can't finish yet, but Ricky Ray has on occasion. He's gone down. He found Fred Stamps for a touchdown, and Ricky Ray has looked sharp after missing 2 weeks. Darian Durant, I'm sure when they go in at halftime, will discuss their red zone offense and to maybe go back to just running their straight offense rather than getting to the 20 and then trying to go for the end zone from there.
Ricky Ray back to work. back to Fred Stamps, a catch for 5 as we check back in with Lee Jones.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys. Barron Simpson has not returned from the locker room, but we can tell you they're saying it's a ankle sprain. He is done for the game. The question now is next week. They're going to take a look a little later on in a couple days to see if he'll be able to go, but that would be a huge loss for the Riders. Barron Simpson is their leading tackler and their best guy at stopping the run.
Veteran leader, 2nd and 5. Pressure on Ray, who dumps it off, incomplete. And avoided the sack, and we will get the first punt of this first half with around a minute to go.
Different looking setup for the Saskatchewan Roughriders as they get Ryan Lucas, backup defensive lineman, number 96, who ends up. But look at the bunch formation here defensively, and they just sort of on the run just decide which gap they're going to take as the ball is snapped.
Good looking rush for Ryan Lucas to put heat on Ray and force the incompletion. And the first 2 and out of the game. Schiavone to kick, and Grace Mullen is back. And a bad kick. Is that tipped? It falls at midfield and bounces out. The Roughriders have the football at their own 52-yard line, an 18-yard punt.
The first one of the game. Maybe punting, they just weren't loosened up, because that looked like it went off the side of Schiavone's foot. He is the field goal kicker as well, so he shouldn't be tight on the sideline. I'm not sure if that was touched. It was close. It looked like it just went off the side of his foot.
And clearly nobody close to that. An 18-yard shank gives the Roughriders a chance here to close the gap. Now Durant over the middle. There's Fantus. And it was brought down by Elliot Richardson at the Edmonton 39-yard line.
Yeah, lots of time. I mean, there's time here for 6-7 plays if Darian Durant can be efficient with them. May want to try and work the sideline a little bit to get that clock stopped quickly. He's going to work the middle here. He steps up. That's when it breaks down defensively, because now linebackers like Rod Davis aren't sure to go and tackle him or stay back in their zone drop.
19 for Fantus, 38 from the receiving lead. 1st and 10. And back in the hands of Andy Fantus to the 27. It's another Saskatchewan first down.
And here they are again. Here they are again down in that area. And over the last couple, they've tried to go to the end zone around this position of the field. See if they continue to run the offense, because they do have time with 39 seconds.
And Fantus now 27 away from the league lead with the ball at the 28. And that one looking inside. Another big grab by Jason Claremont with a flag down at the end of the play.
And that's what I'm talking about. Instead of going deep here and trying to throw the ball to the end zone, they run the quick slant and allow Jason Claremont to try and run to the end zone. We'll see what this flag's all about.
Illegal contact on a receiver. Edmonton number 19.
Lawrence Gordon called. And it'll be 1st and goal for Saskatchewan at the 8.
Rather than go to the end zone, quick slant. Jason Claremont.
Claremont still looking for his first touchdown as a Saskatchewan Roughrider. Trying to finish now. And Durant looks into the end zone for Getzlaff. And the flag does come out. Lawrence Gordon will draw the flag for the 2nd consecutive play.
Starting to work on Lawrence Gordon a little bit. Former Hamilton Tiger Cat, who has not got his hands on a football in an interception in 44 games now.
Pass interference. Edmonton, number 19, in goal. Ball was placed on the 1-yard line. Automatic first down.
Getzlaff here wants to work on Gordon, who's in that press, and try and get that outside so he can run basically a fade route from the inside and just have Darian Durant throw it to the outside shoulder. And you can see the contact pushing Getzlaff down.
Zarkin Cates in behind Durant. First and goal. West Cates, fake, Durant walks in. I bit. Touchdown, Darian Durant, his 7th of the year.
Boy, how important are the special teams? And Derek Schiavone, one bad kick off the side of his foot gives the Saskatchewan Roughriders outstanding field position, and they take full advantage of it. And this time, when they get down in that 25, 30-yard area, they don't go straight to the end zone from there. They run their offense, get Jason Claremont on a quick slant, and a tremendous play fake from Darian Durant.
You mentioned that early in the game on the first possession. You might watch for that later. There it was for the Durant touchdown. 1-yard run. And it's a 1-point game here with 2 seconds left in the opening half.
No, it really sells it when you send your fullback as well. Darian Durant does not want to give it away with his eyes. He'll look both sides. You send the fullback and the tailback. Now you're going to draw the defense. And he is wide open here because it's Sarka, and then it's West Cates, and then Durant around the opposite way. When you send the whole crew and you get your offensive lineman to actually pull that side as well, you get a pulling guard here, and now you get Rod Davis biting inside, thinking he can catch West Cates from behind. Nope, around the corner and in for Darian Durant. And you know one thing right now, there's a full BC Lions team watching this going, they needed that. Saskatchewan did. And I wonder if we'll see Darian Durant after that drive in the second half.
Kevin Glent went the distance. Will Darian Durant do likewise in this game?
Leading rusher in the Canadian Football League at the quarterback position, and he's starting to use that mobility a little bit. He's buying himself some time, and
didn't run at all in the last game against Edmonton. Squib kick, and that will be conceded by Justin Cooper to end the first half, and the Eskimos will take a 1-point lead to the locker rooms after 30 minutes. Well, the drama is building. We head to the second half. A 1-point Edmonton lead, and Lee Jones is with Ken Miller of the Riders.
Coach, you talked earlier in the week you wanted to see Darian Durant playing good football before you considered taking him out. Will we see him in the second half?
You will see him in the second half.
What do you want to see from him in the offense to get back in this football game?
Well, we need to move the ball the way we moved it in the second quarter, and we need to finish those drives, for us to take field goal attempts instead of getting touchdowns. We need to do better than that.
What about the defense, the loss of Baron Simpson, at least for this game? What do you need to see from them to make sure that they don't allow the Eskimos back in the end zone?
Well, we just need to stop their drives. They've played way too much offense. We need to play with great intensity this half.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, Lee.
Each team had 5 possessions in that first half. The Eskimos a touchdown, 3 field goals, and 1 punt. The Roughriders a touchdown, 2 field goals, 2 missed field goals. Otherwise, they have the lead.
And took some momentum in that last drive when Jason Claremont got it down to that goal line area, and Darian Durant went on the naked bootleg into the end zone. So a little bit of momentum right now in Saskatchewan's favor. Can they hang on to it because they get the ball first?
A scare for the Eskimos when Ricky Ray went down, and Ken Miller without Baron Simpson here in the second half as he was injured in the first half of play. Joining us late, a beautiful November evening here in Regina. Looks like the wind is picking up just a little bit. It will be at the back of the Roughriders in the third quarter. Eskimos will have it in the fourth. And that ball hangs up a little bit, and Neil Hughes, a nice move, and instant field position for the Roughriders to start the second half.
Yeah, it is, and that's how it started in that last drive for Darian Durant. Got a shank kick from Derek Schiavone, and he got good field position. Both quarterbacks looking real good, as Matt Dunnigan in the panel talked about at halftime. They're sharp, and both coaches talking about liked what they saw, except for they want to see drives finished with touchdowns rather than field goal attempts.
Yes, there were a few short field goal attempts in that first half for each team. At the 49, to work goes Darian Durant. Weston Dressler out of the backfield. And Dressler, a first down to the Eskimo 49.
I do have to say, though, and Lee talked about with Ken Miller how long we'll see Darian Durant. I again have to say I'm a little surprised in some ways that both Kevin Glenn and Hamilton in the game against the Lions before ours and Darian Durant looks like he's going this third quarter for sure. Now, to see if he goes into the fourth will be interesting. I know Ken Miller likes to put pedal to the metal and just keep his guys in there.
Big to Cates. There's Cope with another catch and still running. Derek Cope last week had 92 yards after the catch. And he shows you that he can be elusive in a tight confine there.
Yeah, and former rider Maurice Lloyd there was looked like he was frustrated with his secondary and turned and talked to them, wanting them to make tackles in the open field. Initially, I think that's Lawrence Gordon 1, Jason Goss 2. And it was Maurice Lloyd who had to go over there and corral him.
Roughriders look sharp out of the gate. This time it is Cates straight ahead, and he's pulled down by Greg Peach. Last week, Durant came out of the locker room, second half, an 8-play touchdown drive in BC to start.
You know, I know, Chris, we talked about this team needing to snap a 4-game losing streak, and they want to get that good feeling going into the playoffs. I understand that, and I get that. And both they and Hamilton are in the exact same position going into this game this evening. And nothing changes in the standings either way. And I'm not just talking about the possibility of injury. I'm talking about fatigue and having your best ready in a week.
Here's Durant, pressure, got away. Cates, great catch. What a play. Wes Cates, first down inside the 10. Boy, that showed you the best of Durant and Cates.
Well, it sure did, because Elliot Richardson, the safety right here, is going to come right down Main Street on the safety blitz, and Darian Durant has to avoid that. This is right down the middle. Darian Durant has to elude the safety blitz, get outside, and as he's getting hit, throws it to the outside shoulder of Wes Cates. Great accuracy to give his running back a chance, and Wes Cates has done that throughout his career.
And now they're first and goal inside the 10. Toss, Cates. And he'll be dropped close to the 5-yard line as Kai Ellis back in the Eskimo lineup has the tackle.
You know, Wes Cates has caught the football this year, but not as many times down the field like that as he did in past years for Saskatchewan.
Yeah, he's made some spectacular catches as a Rough Rider. Ability to make that over-the-shoulder catch when called upon. Been stuck for 3 weeks without a touchdown after racking up 15 to lead the league. Second and goal. And Durant takes off, looking for his second, and he'll be stopped at the 1. And Ken Miller's got a decision to make.
Decision time for Ken Miller, and you know the crowd here is going to want him to go ahead and go for it.
And he didn't waste much time.
There's an indication of what the crowd would like. And I don't think, obviously your head coach is not making decisions based on the fans, but he didn't hesitate at all there to leave his offense out there, put this goal line offense on the field.
Now the Rhino package comes out. Some of the big boys like Luke Mullender check in. It is third and 1. Mullender was lined up as a fullback. Now Zarka in motion. It'll be Cates with a flag. He's in. What's the call? Usually offside, and that's a Saskatchewan touchdown. Number 16 of the year for Wes Cates, the league leader.
Offside. Edmonton, number 6. Penalty is declined. Touchdown.
They're cheering in Saskatchewan and in BC.
There's the line there, and there's the foot that is offside. That's Edmonton offside, and Wes Cates' second effort here because it looked pretty plugged up right at the point of attack, but he twisted out of it.
Extra point from Keene. And the Roughriders take the lead. The CFL on TSN is brought to you in part by Husqvarna. Taming the wild with Husqvarna leaf blowers and chainsaws. So the Roughriders wrap up the first half with a touchdown drive, and they open the second half with a Wes Cates touchdown. 7 plays, 61 yards.
And he made the big play, the big catch over the shoulder from Darian Durant to get him down in that goal line area. Spun off a tackle to finish the drive off. Back-to-back times now come away with majors, so they've heard their head coach and the message at halftime. Finish drives off.
Big kickoff as Armstead backpedal to his 2. Armstead with a good return. Up to the 35-yard line. Take a look at the drive. 7 plays, and Durant 3 for 3 on the scoring march.
Yeah, he looks sharp. Started out with Weston Dressler. Gets a little bit of yards after the catch there, as did Kerry Cope. Breaks a few tackles. And this was the big play. Over the shoulder. That's a running back in the open field there. Capped off with that twisting touchdown 1-yard run for Wes Cates, who adds to his totals on the season.
So 2 quarterbacks on their game, getting in playoff form. Let's see how Ricky Ray responds. Puts it in the hands of Stamps again, and not much there. Maybe a yard.
As I mentioned, add to his total. Wes Cates now with 16 touchdowns on the season, 15 rushing touchdowns. There's the record for Saskatchewan Roughriders. Ken Carpenter in '95 with 18.
Getting in rarefied air there. Of course, George Reed in a shorter schedule. Second and 9. Here comes the pressure, and the ball knocked out of Ray's hands. It's loose, and Ryan Lucas has got it. Ricky Ray stripped of the football, and the momentum with the Roughriders and the Lions.
Tad Cornegay is going to make the play here eventually, but Patrick Afif does his job. I'm going to show you why the play is made. Watch Cornegay come up off the edge. Now, the tackle's job is to push him wide. He basically accomplishes that so that the quarterback can step in the pocket. But look who is in the middle. Montez Murphy has pushed the pocket backwards on Patrick Kabongo. Nowhere for Ricky Ray to step up into that pocket, and Cornegay gets him from behind.
First turnover of the game. Chris Getzlaff a catch inside the 30. As Getzlaff has pickup of 7.
Back in Vancouver.
Most Edmonton fans may automatically think, well, the left tackle got beat there by Patrick Cornegay or by Tad Cornegay on the blitz. But Patrick Afif did his job, and that big push up the middle from Montez Murphy is the reason that they get the turnover. Now, can they capitalize and keep this roll going?
Ryan Lucas, a Vancouver native, trying to help out the Lions there with the fumble recovery. 4th forced fumble for Tad Cornegay on the year. It's 2nd and short. Play action. Durant looking downfield to twos. Touchdown. 27 yards. He ties the league lead and gives the Riders a bigger lead.
Bootleg with the throwback so that Fantus can go all the way across the field. And Darian Durant puts this one on the money. Play action. He gets out, plants, and goes back into the short side. Look at him throw it up over the top of Lawrence Gordon.
That's the old Rider team. 3 consecutive touchdown drives. And 27 yards for Andy Fantus. So he's even with Terrence Edwards. Well, the wait is over. Conan O'Brien returns to television with Conan premiering Monday at midnight Eastern and Pacific on Comedy. Well, Mosaic's rocking. Chatham's rocking.
Now tied for the league lead in receiving yardage with Terrence Edwards. His next catch will put him in the lead.
Armstead on the return. And brought down just across the 25-yard line. Corey Hucklack in on the tackle.
Let's show you that play again. Darian Durant's going to roll away, and he needs some help. And this help comes from Gene Mikowski, the veteran. He's going to pull. Watch Darian Durant get out there. Kenneth Petway comes up the field. If there's no Gene Mikowski, he comes hard at Darian Durant, gets in the throwing lane. So protection is there. And with Durant rolling away, he allows Fantus to sell his route on the backside. Inside, chop, 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 back to the corner.
6 touchdown catch for Fantus, the 25th. Delivered by Durant. Under pressure was Ricky Ray. And Andre Talbot with a catch. Up at the 28-yard line. And so just a gain of a yard, maybe 2. Well, they were good on second down conversions early on. Here's a big one to try and turn this momentum. 2nd and 9. Dumped off underneath. Porter's not going to get there. Gig tackled. Hucklack in there. Freeman. When they stop him short and create another 2 and out.
In the first half, Ricky Ray was going to Fred Stamps. If he was in trouble, he'd look for number 2. If he wasn't and there was blitz, he would look for number 2. This time, Fred Stamps gets a zone look, and he goes open to the corner, does not get the football as Ricky Ray dumps it down.
I was wondering if they got G. Roy's tweet, but not apparently there.
Chance for a big play, and Ricky Ray just missed him. Now, he was under pressure the last couple of plays, so he might have just wanted to get the football out of his hands quickly there and dumps it down to Daniel Porter.
Now Schiavone gets set to kick to Ryan Grace Mullen, and his first punt just 18 yards. Not deep, but better. And Grace Mullen stopped by Tim St. Pierre just across the 45. That punt was 33 yards. Our sack tally brought to you by Purelator. Tackling hunger across Canada. Check.
Saskatchewan trying to climb up that list. They got some pressure in this second half on Ricky Ray and have been a lot better in that regard than in the first half.
1 sack apiece. Edmonton led 13-4, but the Roughriders on a 25-3 run here. Fake toss, look out, Durant got away, and now looks for Chrysler, got it. And suddenly this offense is hitting on all cylinders.
I believe it was Greg Peach that is kicking himself on the outside here on the bootleg by Durant, because he has a crack at him free off the edge and takes an angle that is underneath the quarterback. He beats the defensive end to the outside and puts it on the money.
At the 43, a first down. That ball batted down and falls incomplete.
Darian Durant completing about 80% of his passes in this game, and Ken Miller had mentioned he wants to see him play well. 274 already. He's come off that Lions game. It was a loss, but had 325 there.
I know you're worried about how long he stays in. Just wonder if he's going to go most of the way here, because this is a potential opponent they're playing. Durant on second down, he wants Cope deep, and incomplete. Step for step with Jason Goss.
You know, I make the point based on the fact that it's a long season. These guys are physically fatigued at this point. there's really no change in the standings. I know the things we're talking about are snapping losing streaks, playing against an opponent in the playoffs again. If Edmonton can find a way to come back and win this game, they'll face them again in 1 week. So there's that psychological edge, but it's all the psychology of the game. I'm talking more the physical part of the game. Avoiding injury, one, but also getting as fresh as you can in 1 week. I felt the same way with Hamilton and their situation.
And you're right, if something happens to number 4 in the second half of this game, what a punt. Eddie Johnson just hit the corner. And it's all going Saskatchewan's way, a 43-yarder right into the coffin corner.
Wow, it's a game of inches, and that was inches away. I mean, that's you can't do it any better. And right now, the BC Lions watching this game right beside the Toronto airport together are going, okay, there's some momentum for the Saskatchewan Roughriders now. They're starting quarterbacks in the game the old time. They've coming off some touchdown drives and get a perfect punt.
Special team player for Saskatchewan said he figured he got the nod because of the mustache. Might have got it for a punt like that. Porter trying to dig the Eskimos out of a hole here. Tad Cornegay and Jarrell Freeman on the stop. That's a Glenn Suter special, isn't it?
November, baby. November. November. Love you guys. Those stashes out there. Mom, Dad, love you guys.
I never went with the full down the side Fu Manchu look. That one's groomed. That one, he's working on that.
Second and 4. From his goal line, can't find anybody. In trouble, and throws incomplete. Last 4 possessions, a turnover, and 3 2-and-outs for the Edmonton Eskimos.
Yeah, and what do they do now, Chris? I mean, where the ball is marked, they're going to look at likely giving up a safety here. They're punting into the wind, which means Ryan Greismullen is going to catch this football right around the Edmonton 40 if they decide to kick it.
And Chivoni has an 18-yarder and a 33-yarder.
That's automatic field goal range, basically. And I'm guessing here Edmonton will give up the safety.
Although it would make it 15.
Although they can ill afford to give up any more points, but
he'll do just that.
Now you don't want to kill time if you're the Edmonton Eskimos.
Well, he wants to kill time against the win.
Yeah, but it's not a win that is affecting the throwing motion of the quarterback right now. I mean, this is, you got to make up big time points. Remember, the playoff hopes on the line here. The Edmonton Eskimos have got to win this game to get in. If they don't, the BC Lions are in the playoffs.
Well, it's a 2-touchdown lead now, and the Eskimos would also need a 2-point convert under those circumstances.
Yeah, you know, if it's a real strong win, Chris, I agree that you're into it. You want to get to that fourth quarter with the win at your back, but this one isn't. I mean, it's a breeze. Really not affecting the quarterbacks one way or another, whether they have it or don't. And those could be valuable seconds. I mean, that's not a strong win. Certainly not for this part of the country.
No, this. I mean, we had a win game last night in Winnipeg that clearly dictated the strategy of the game, but certainly a much different weather environment here for this game, and we can only hope we can get a repeat a week tomorrow in the Western Semi. So Chivoni with that high short kickoff, and there's Greismullen across the 50 and taken down around midfield, and again Darian Durant leads the offense out with great field position, and that's been what the last 4 or 5 possessions now.
That's just interesting to me. It really is. And I wonder, Darian Durant's trying to get the call right now from the sideline in that speaker system in his helmet. I wonder if this is his last series.
With his yardage today, and again, it's individual stuff that's not as important, but he's approaching 5,500 yards on the season. A little mix up there as Cates bumped into Durant. Was that ball caught? I think it hit the carpet, and they're ruling it incomplete.
Yeah, there was a mix-up because the Eskimos went with a safety blitz. It looked like Wes Cates tried to step up to make a block. He ran into Durant, which really adjusted it or disrupted his throwing motion, so that ball went down low and one hopper.
So no catch, 2nd and 10. Over the middle and out of the reach of Chris Getzlaff. A quick 2-and-out that time.
Jason Nugent coming in as that extra defensive back for Edmonton this time is going to come on the pressure here from the backside, and this is one of the reasons that you never know when a player, you're going to send pressure. You're Edmonton playing for your playoff lives. If one guy rolls into the legs of the starting quarterback at this point.
The mustachioed one back in, and he'll be looking to pin the Eskimos again. Armstead at his 10. And took a big jolt there.
LaRon Mitchell, Chris, in the kicking game. An area of concern pretty much all season for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. They've not, as of yet, given up a big play in this game tonight. And there's number 25, LaRon Mitchell, Western Ontario, stepping in a big hit.
The Montreal Alouettes and Calgary Stampeders have both given up more big plays on special teams than the Saskatchewan Roughriders. I think that might surprise Roughrider fans. Ricky Ray trying to get the offense back into high gear, and this will help. Daniel Porter with a big run, tossed down by Tad Cornegay, but Porter up close to the 40-yard line.
Cornegay at the end of that play had to be careful not to get the horse collar tackle penalty. He was coming from behind, and it really changed the direction here for Daniel Porter to bounce it to the right. That play looked like it was designed to go the opposite way, but you can see Cornegay moved his hand from the middle of the back of the shoulder pads to the outside to avoid the penalty and some more yards.
88 yards for Porter in the game. 21 on that route. First down at the 39. Ray has time, wants Stamps, reach back, got it! Great catch by Fred Stamps. And another Edmonton first down at the Saskatchewan 50.
You know what makes this great is that he stays with it. And what Fred Stamps does here is show his courage, because you come across the middle, like how many times do you see receivers just want to, like if they juggle it here, it's way behind them. Now they're thinking, I've got exposed ribs into that middle. Someone's coming in from that middle, exposed ribs, but he hangs on, he sticks with it, comes up with a catch.
His best game was here early in the season, 12 catches, 213 yards. Porter got away from Murphy. Lance Frazier can't bring him down, and Daniel Porter makes 6 or 7 when he should have been stopped for a loss.
And he's working towards his 4th straight 100-yard game, and he gets this all by himself here. Montez Murphy is going to get great penetration and looks like he disrupts the play completely there. Almost out of face mask, too. Then he gets some help on the outside. Lance Frazier misses. A good spin move there by Daniel Porter. He gets all that on his own. 8 yards away from his 4th straight 100-yard game.
Last Eskimo to have 4 straight, John Avery, 2002. Final minute, 3rd quarter. Eskimos trying to get back in it. Calvin McCarty, and he has an important first down as the Eskimos stay on the ground against the Saskatchewan defense.
Yeah, well, I'd be surprised if any team didn't. I mean, really, until Saskatchewan, without Barron Simpson in the lineup. Remember, he was injured early on in the game and has not returned. So this is a team that has been, even with Barron Simpson in there in his 100 tackles, susceptible to the run.
Eskimos began this drive at their own 18-yard line. First down at the Roughrider 40. Back in the hands of McCarty to the 35. And we'll have time for one more play in this third quarter.
It also allows your offensive line, Chris, to just lean on that front hand and drive off and do some good run block. You see them congratulating each other. Big Patrick Kabongo there and Greg White there. Yeah, this is where it gets fun for the O-line. And Chris Schultz will tell you that. They get to lean on that front hand and go attack somebody rather than catch them when they're trying to pass protect. New offensive line coach Tim Princeton loves that running game because he's a former offensive lineman.
Greg White,
timeout. Edmonton.
A youngster in his second year. The Eskimos had to use their timeout here. And that is something that will concern the coach.
Well, they had an issue there. You remember they have communication. The coaches can talk to the quarterback, but Ray was looking at that wristband. Some of the ways they'll do that is they'll have numbers. The plays will be numbered on that wristband so that the communication comes in. It's just a number. You got number 27, play 27. He looked down, but when he saw the play and the personnel in the field, it didn't jive, so he had to call the timeout there. Could be costly, though. That's a team coming from behind that may need that.
That's one you'd like to have when you're down in the final 3 minutes.
But this is a crucial drive, and if they didn't have the right play, they basically had to do it.
Trying to keep it going, 2nd and 5. Time to go deep, looking for Jamaica Rector. Incomplete. Big play there by Byron Bullock, who we talked about early, atoning for that penalty in the first quarter. End of 3 quarters at Mosaic. Here are the third quarter numbers brought to you by Tim Hortons, proud sponsor of the CFL.
Darian Durant got on track the last drive of the first half and then picked it up in the first drive of the second. His passing yards starting to add up, and Edmonton in that third quarter bogged down a little, but they went back to the running game and now over 100 yards rushing as a team.
27-3 run for the Roughriders, who scored on 3 consecutive series, trying to snap this 4-game losing streak. And I know you're curious how much more we'll see of Darian Durant here in the fourth quarter.
Well, I know Ken Miller's philosophy is to play his guys, but I'd be surprised to see him in the fourth, although I was surprised to see Kevin Glenn in the game before go start to finish as well. Edmonton Eskimos, on the other hand, absolute desperation for them.
Schiavone from 42 yards out to start the fourth quarter. And he has missed to the right, and it's going to be brought out by Grace Mullen. Looking for a crease. And out to the 15-yard line. So it remains a 15-point lead. And it remains Darian Durant at quarterback for the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
And I know BC Lion players, coaching staff, and fans are watching saying, don't quit saying take Darian Durant out of the game.
Ken Miller told the media yesterday we're going to play the majority of our players most of the game.
I am a little surprised that Ryan Gricemullin tried to run that out of the back of the end zone.
So they start at the 15. And they swing it out to Cates. And not much there for Wes Cates as Mo Lloyd, the former Rough Rider, middle linebacker, has the tackle. Brings up 2nd and long. And while the Lions and Rider fans must like their position, there's still a lot of time left.
Totally. Lots of football to be played.
especially if the Eskimos get a stop here. Here comes pressure. Durant steps up. Buys some time and has to take off. And he'll have to take a hit. TJ Hill brings him down, and he'll be close to the first down, but that's the kind of situation you want him to avoid.
Well, that's what I'm talking about, and it doesn't matter if it's Anthony Calvillo in Montreal or Kevin Glenn or Darian Durant, or any of these quarterbacks who can't improve their position in the playoff hunt with a win, to take hits like that in the open field, I really believe you're rolling the dice. But they're going to be close enough that Ken Miller could decide to go ahead here.
This even is an interesting decision. It's a few chain links short, which you'd think it'd be automatic, except they lead by 15 and they're inside their own 25-yard line. It looks like they have no intention of sending the kicking team on, though. And you would think it's such short yardage, you'd probably just have your quarterback take another hit here, wouldn't you?
Yeah, well, that's the conventional wisdom. Go forward when it's only a couple of inches. You got to just fall forward. If you take the ball off the line of scrimmage, you're taking a chance that penetration will stop the play.
Don't have to go too far. And he didn't. But he looked like he broke the plane of the 25, which should be enough.
You know, one of the reasons that teams over the last few years have gone to their backup quarterback in situations like that is because too many quarterbacks were getting hurt on short yardage plays. They get into that pile and there's a lot of twisting and turning going on, and defenders coming over the top trying to take free shots, and you can lose your quarterback in a short yardage situation like that.
So first down, up at the 25-yard line. And the wide side throw, there's Getzlaff jolted, and they're going to rule it a catch. And pushed out by Weldon Brown.
You know, like the Fred Stamps catch, this one's not over the middle, it's at the sideline, but Chris Getzlaff has to make the same decision here. He's going to expose himself. He's got to go up and get it, and he exposes his ribs. He knows he's going to take a shot. He was knocked out of bounds. And I guess according to the official, he would have come down inbounds without the hit.
So Getzlaff 55 yards away from 1,000. After that 11-yard pickup, and they hand it off to Dressler. Turns the corner and has another first down. Rod Davis edges him out at the 47-yard line. Ninth time he's carried the football this year as a rusher.
Little underneath handoff. He's got Wes Cates out in front of him. He's got to beat one guy, Kenneth Petway, in order to get the corner, and does it.
Boy, he's quick. 5'7", 180 pounds. Maurice Lloyd shaken up on that last play, the Eskimo middle linebacker, so we'll step out. The CFL on TSN is brought to you in part by the 2011 GMC Sierra Heavy Duty. Never send a truck to do a Sierra's job. Mo Lloyd on the limp at the Eskimos sidelines. Rod Davis moves into the middle, flanked by TJ Hill and Mark Rostelli. 1st and 10 for the Roughriders. Wes Cates, and he gets nailed immediately. Greg Peach the tackle.
Well, it's down to it now for the Edmonton Eskimos. I mean, they've got to get the 2 and out, got to get the ball back as quickly as possible. I mean, I know that's stating the obvious, but their season in the balance here.
Roughriders trying to work the clock. They've taken over 3 minutes off here on this latest possession. Eskimos want the ball back, and it's 2nd and 8. And they look for Dressler deep. had a step, and it's broken up as Lawrence Gordon recovered. Ball slightly underthrown.
A bit of a tough game for Lawrence Gordon, but he recovers there in a key play for Edmonton. Because that play is made by Dressler, and that could be about it for their playoff hopes. And he's beaten. I mean, Weston Dressler's 3-4 yards behind him, but he stays with it. Lawrence Gordon stays with the play, catches up with the ball in the air, and does not draw the penalty flag.
There's Armstead, who had a 58-yard punt return touchdown against Saskatchewan a couple of weeks ago. Eddie Johnson will punt into the wind for the first time tonight. And he blasts one. Good boot. Armstead has a head of steam. And Neil Hughes with a great tackle. 44-yard kick, and Neil Hughes limits the damage on the return. The CFL on TSN is brought to you in part by Rona, proud sponsor of the Canadian Football League. Rona, doing it right. A 3-game Edmonton Eskimo win streak on the line. Roughriders trying to end a 4-game losing streak. Drop play, Porter. And Daniel Porter kicks it outside, over 100, and romping into Roughrider territory down inside the 45-yard line. Boy, they've got a keeper in Daniel Porter, don't they?
Well, that puts him over 100 yards for the 4th straight game. And Daniel Porter, as they keep the defense for the Saskatchewan Roughriders honest. I mean, they've got to score a couple of scores here, but that doesn't mean pass every single down. They keep them honest with a nice draw just to get the thing started here.
125 yards in the game for Porter. Ray on a roll, and he's got Calvin McCarty down to the 35. Lance Fraser and Tad Cornegay combining, and before the drive began, you were about to tell us that this was obviously critical.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm wondering if at what point here for Edmonton do you get into 3-down territory where you basically are going and gambling each time in. I mean, your season's on the line here. And as it gets in and closes in on 5 minutes, you're talking about field goals not being good enough any longer.
Second and short, and Porter will push the pile to the 30-yard line and have another Eskimo first down.
Now you at this point, just under 10 minutes, you do have 3, possibly 4 possessions. Got to rely a little bit on your defense. Can't allow any more points, obviously, but Edmonton Eskimos now will have to contemplate, depending on their situation, if they're in 3 down and just gambling. Porter, sorry, Chris, but not gambling when they have to do it, but basically going on 3rd down.
Porter's second best game as a pro. He has the best rushing game of the season at 171, and he was swarmed that time, not going anywhere. And now the Eskimos will have to go to the air. You would expect.
He really has a no quit in him, right?
He's from Louisiana Tech.
Yeah, he just has no quit in him at all. I mean, that play had no chance, and he didn't just bury his head into the back of his offensive lineman and just kind of go down there. He spun and turned and twisted and dug and tried everything possible to pick up what he could. He got back to the line of scrimmage, but there's no quit in Porter.
Got a little bit of that Matt Dunnigan gold dust in him from the same school. 2nd and 10, big play for Edmonton. 4 receivers wide side, flag down, and Ricky Ray takes off. And Ray's still going. The 135-yard rusher in his last start with his first big run of the game. 13 there. Let's find out what the flag's all about.
Well, it looked like Jarrell Freeman did move early. Now, was he drawn offside by an Edmonton offensive lineman?
And Ray indicating
offside, Saskatchewan. That penalty is declined. 1st down.
Of course, the Eskimos will take the play here because it was further than the penalty. See Freeman jump.
No question about it. 13 yards for Ray on the run. And the Eskimos have something going here with just under 8 minutes left. Fake to Porter, and now on a roll. And that pass incomplete as he couldn't get it into the hands of Calvin McCarty.
Well, I think Ray was basically throwing that away. He had run out of options, and Calvin McCarty was pretty well covered by Tad Cornegay.
Well defended, and Montez Murphy putting the heat on the quarterback.
Big difference in this game, Chris, so far has been that the Edmonton Eskimos' average starting position has been the 27-yard line. The Saskatchewan Roughriders' average starting position, the 41.
Second and 10. A six-pack of receivers for Ray. A short drop, quarterback draw. And Ricky Ray fumbles the football. And who's got it? Looks like the Roughriders had a few shots at it. Who's come up with it? Looks like Corey Hucklack and Fred Stamps. And it is Roughrider football. Second fumble of the game for Ricky Ray. So the Eskimos come away empty-handed.
Early in the game, Byron Bullock had a penalty for a late hit on Ricky Ray that extended the drive and led to points. Well, he's made a couple of big plays for Saskatchewan's defense since then. One on a knockdown on a long pass to Jamaica Rector, and one to strip the football away from Ricky Ray right there.
Second fumble of the game for Ray. The Eskimos have turned the ball over more than any other team in the league this year. That's 53 turnovers for the Eskimos. Wes Cates cuts it back and up to the 15-yard line.
You know, young players, inexperienced players will make mistakes. And Byron Bullock made a mistake early on, but the good ones bounce back from those challenges. And that is a big-time play in a crucial situation. The Edmonton Eskimos score there, and it's game on.
In training camp, Ken Miller was so impressed with Bullock, he said, this fella's going to be around for a long time. Well, he has waited a long time for his opportunity. Just his third game and his first real regular action. Second and 4. And they swing it out to Dressler. First down. And more. Shifting gears. And then a pop at the end up at the 40. But he is quick.
And I'm not sure what spot the BC Lions are at watching this game together before they get on their flight back home. But to see Dressler come out of the backfield here and watch the move he makes in the open field. I mean, I'm sure that room erupted on this play right here. A little shake and bake on TJ Hill outside and down the sideline for an extra 15.
So first down up at the 40. And Cope the catch. And he makes a man miss. And is in Edmonton territory. And it's starting to get away for the Eskimos now. Darian Durant over 300. And 25 for Kerry Cope.
Darian Durant's going to go the distance. And he's looked sharp.
10th 300-yard game for Durant on the year. Works the clock, fakes to Cates, and throws back for Dressler, incomplete.
James Cebulski just sent me a tweet forwarded from G. Roy Simon. This is completely unofficial. BC Lions G. Roy Simon, who says, I've got that Rider pride feeling deep inside. Pause, 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 laugh out loud, and then he said, I just threw up. Cheering for the Riders, I guess, to a certain point, and then that's where it ends. But This is a big drive because this is one of those nails in the Edmonton coffin.
Second and 10. And Durant's going to throw that away. But we're down to 4:32 remaining. And all they have to do is make sure they don't make any mistakes now.
I'll give Ricky Ray a long field, number one. That's up to the foot now. The foot now of Eddie Johnson.
Took over at their 9, moved it 55 yards, and now Johnson will look for the pin. But again, still time to change G. Simon's complexion.
I have seen games throughout my time in this booth, 3 majors scored in under 2 minutes in the Canadian Football League.
Line drive, no yards, that'll be 15. And Armstead gets down in a hurry. Kitwana Jones in pursuit. 34-yard boot, and Ricky Ray now will have 4:01 to try and close this gap and extend the Eskimo season.
One thing that the Riders have done better is to contain Fred Stamps a little bit more in this second half. He's just 3 catches in the second half for Stamps.
Saskatchewan number 46. It's a 15-yard penalty, first down.
He just 28 yards in the second half of this game, and he had in the first half. He was the go-to guy for Ricky Ray, especially when the Riders went with blitz. Now, I doubt we'll see as much full blitz from Saskatchewan here. They're going to make Ricky Ray go the distance with a 10 or 12 play drive.
Draw play to Porter. And he's got some. Daniel Porter up to the 38 and should have a first down.
Fred Stamps in the first half, Chris, 7 catches, 95 yards. He also had a touchdown. Done a better job to contain him, especially on the deep pass, and that's what they're going to have to get to pretty soon here, Edmonton, to keep their season alive.
Ray over the middle, Talbot the catch, and Freeman there to bring him down about the 47-yard line.
On that last play, James Patrick, the safety, went right to the short side of the field to Fred Stamp's side. He just basically double teamed to one guy underneath. I believe it was Chris McKenzie, and then James Patrick over the top.
Second and short, Porter got the first down, and up to the 53-yard line. The 3-minute warning given to the benches. It's the Roughriders by 15. Our game story is brought to you by Mr. Lube.
Wes Cage gets his 16th touchdown in the 2010 campaign. Another 100-yard game for Daniel Porter. But the question going in was, could this offense for Saskatchewan get some traction, get Darian Durant going? He's at 326 passing so far.
Eskimos with a first down. Ray loads it up, looking for Fred Stamps, and overthrows him, and Stamps in double coverage as G. Simon called for here in the second half.
Yeah, that's what they do. They put Lance Frazier over top and have LaRon Mitchell just run with him on the outside shoulder. So they're going to have a guy high over the top on Fred Stamps here. Make sure they don't give up a big one in one play. There is the deep player, and there is Stamps, and you're going to see LaRon Mitchell on the outside shoulder, and he's got a deep player over the top. Double cover.
Second and 10. Flag down. And Ray running around. He'll take off. And Ricky Ray takes a hit. And bounce forward over Tad Cornegay for what would be a first down. Let's see what the flag's all about.
Offside. Saskatchewan, number 91. That penalty is declined. First down.
Montez Murphy was offside.
Ray gets the first down here. Let me show you the secondary here. Look how deep the secondary are for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Look how deep James Patrick is playing. They're going to make the Edmonton Eskimos nickel and diamond underneath and put together long drives here. The time is their enemy.
Draw to Daniel Porter, and Freeman will toss him down quickly, and Porter is slow to get up. 3-yard run for Daniel Porter. And he'll go to the bench. McCarty checks back in.
The Edmonton Eskimos had the hammer. They had the season series to the BC Lions.
Ricky Ray, second down, trying to convert. Talbot is dropped at the 35. He had to get to around the 34-yard line and gets a good spot, and it's going to be close to the first down. So the chains will come out, the clock will stop, and Ricky Ray will have time to huddle up and maybe call a couple of plays. But it is going to be third down, so they have to take care of that.
Which is worst case scenario for Edmonton, because now they do have to get the first down, obviously first, and that takes 3 or 4 or 5 seconds off the clock, and that's their enemy, the clock.
And probably more, because if they use the conventional third down play, the clock will just start running again very shortly thereafter.
And remember, the Edmonton Eskimos had to burn their second half timeout.
And Ray in behind Patrick Kabongo will move the chains. And
it's a couple of small things here for Edmonton as their season starts to dwindle away here. Field position was a big difference in this game, and I mentioned that starting position, and the teams that's been an issue for Saskatchewan wasn't tonight. A couple of small things, burning timeouts late in the game. How valuable were those few seconds when they conceded 2?
Clock running under 2 minutes to go, and that falls short of the intended target. Andrew Nowacki.
And then a couple of turnovers. That fumble caused by Byron Bullock on the last series, a real game changer. They took a run, the Edmonton Eskimos. Winners of 5 of their last 6, but only one of those games were on the road.
Second and 10. McCarty stays in the block. Ray over the middle has a completion, and Jamaica Rector down inside the 5 and finally brought down. The Eskimos still have life with 93 seconds to go.
Boy, did he ever take off after the catch here. Just great acceleration. He's the wide receiver on Fred Stamp's side. Going to run that deep dig route all the way across, and then watch acceleration. He takes that football and heads straight north-south.
In for the injured Kelly Campbell. First and goal from the 4. Fake to McCarty. Ricky Ray. Touchdown. Does get in. And we're in for a finish here at Mosaic.
Hang on.
84 seconds left.
Montez Murphy is pulled inside big time on the fake. And Ricky Ray has the corner, and we are going to have a finish.
And although they need 2, a 2-point convert on the next touchdown, they will just kick 1 here and stay alive. So it is an 8-point deficit. No timeouts for the Eskimos. But there's still some hope. An 11-play, 83-yard touchdown drive.
Yeah, no timeout, and at 1:24, you're almost in that time zone where you're looking onside kick. You're right on the bubble. If it's almost 2 minutes, you pretty much could kick it away and try and get that 2-and-out quickly. So you're thinking field position, but here, I would imagine the Edmonton Eskimos will try an onside kick.
Well, remarkably, we still might have a thrilling finish here. Noel Thorpe, the special teams coordinator, going over responsibilities on the short kick that we assume is upcoming. Jim Daly on the other side.
He's getting his hands team ready to receive that kick, where the front line will try and knock off as many as they can and let the second row, and it's Chris Getzlaff at this far corner, to try and come up with the football.
Getzlaff along with Claremont, Mullender, and Kitwana Jones, they were all getting revved up for what is about to come here. As this one's up for grabs. Getzlaff awaits, jump ball, and did the Eskimos get it? Flags fly, which would indicate that the kickoff went out of bounds.
Jamaica Rector went up. Now, did he touch the football?
An Eskimo went airborne, looked like he may have made contact, but it's an illegal kick, and it's going to be Saskatchewan football.
Well, it's a legal kick if it wasn't touched before it went out of bounds.
No, if indeed it was touched by an Eskimo, but
yeah,
the ruling here on the flag is that it was not touched and kicked out.
The previous play is under review.
And now they'll take a look at it to make sure this one went untouched out.
Let's take a couple of looks, because Jamaica Rector was very close. He was inbounds when he jumped. So there's no sign of illegal participation. Did he get his hand on the ball there before it went out of bounds? Because his glove is the white glove in between Getzlaff's dark gloves.
Just apparently out of his reach, but this might give us a different view.
And I'm wondering if he touches that. Does the ball flight change directions as it comes down?
I didn't sense a real argument from Rector, but that's going to be a tough one to sort out. Maybe a better look here. And another question is, Rector out of bounds? Is it academic that both players are out of bounds?
Well, when Jamaica Rector jumped, he was in bounds. So it wasn't like he ran out and came back in and then would be called for illegal participation. He was in bounds when he left his feet. And the question is, did he touch that football before it went out? Now, the ruling is that he didn't, because they called the flag for an illegal kickoff out of bounds. So the ruling has to be overturned. Now, did they have enough evidence to do that?
After review, the Edmonton player was the first player to touch the ball, but he landed out of bounds. Therefore, the ruling on the field is a legal kickoff.
Okay.
Edmonton.
So he came down and landed out.
So because he was not in bounds, it will not be Edmonton football.
He left his feet. When he left his feet to get up in the air, he was in bounds when he left. When he landed, he was on the white straight.
And so Saskatchewan takes over at the Edmonton 52.
We were focusing in on the ball and whether or not he touched it, and they ruled that he did touch it.
Into the hands of Andy Fantews, and there's your leader in CFL receiving. A Canadian will lead the CFL in receiving in 2010 on that catch by Andy Fantews.
And the crowd just got the announcement and are giving Andy Fantews a standing ovation. And I'm guessing he sells some more Fantews flakes.
And I'm also guessing, you don't always go for personal stats at the end of a game. It looked like Darian Durant knew there was some business to take care of. Well, Dave Sapunja's the last one to do it, and in honor of Dwayne Ford, we'll remind you where both those great receivers have come from, the University of Western Ontario.
Let's go back one more time to that onside kick attempt and Jamaica Rector, and we were focusing in on whether or not he touched the ball, and I'll try and Edmonton Eskimo fans, I'm sure, want to take another look at Rector coming down here, and you can see his feet, both feet well out of bounds. Now he is getting hit by Chris Getzlaff as well, but he touches the football. They ruled he touched it, but you can see he's way out of bounds when he lands.
Here's Chris Getzlaff. There's the other order of business that they'd like to take care of, but he's stopped short, and it'll be third down, and I think Getzlaff will be okay with coming up just a little bit short, because the Roughriders have ended what was a miserable month, and Rider Nation can breathe a little easier, can't they?
They can, but what do they do here? Ken Miller is trying to make a decision here as to trying. He's going to punt this away and make sure there's no chance for a blocked field goal. Darian Durant goes the distance.
And you're right, because this still is not done. There is some time left on the clock. A single point for Eddie Johnson would put it out of reach.
And they've got help. Saskatchewan has put another player back there with Johnson.
And Lawrence Gordon is back in the end zone for Edmonton. They run it down as far as they can.
Timeout, Saskatchewan.
And now use their timeout.
I think if you're Edmonton Eskimos here, you're putting everybody on the line of scrimmage and saying, you got to go block this kick.
And what is your play here? Just make sure you get it away anywhere, or?
Well, you're just, if you get down to 7 or 8 seconds, you could do that run around and then throw it up in the air play with your quarterback in this case if you're Saskatchewan, but to kill the rest of the time. You just want to kick this. Single doesn't matter, so go ahead and drive it.
Now it is Armstead back. Gordon had moved up, and that kick will bounce around and out at the 12-yard line. So 6 seconds, one last gasp for Ricky Ray in an Edmonton Eskimo season that began 2-9. A 5-win in 6-week stretch. Looked like they might be playoff bound, controlled their own destiny. And it won't be Ricky Ray, it'll be Jared Zabransky for the one final toss.
Courageous effort from Ricky Ray, though. Guy who took a bunch of hits down the stretch there. No hook sliding from him. Battled back. Played an excellent first half. But Darian Durant got on a roll and he couldn't match him.
Should be the final play of the season unless Zabransky's got a miracle. Downfield and incomplete, and this game's over. And so is the Saskatchewan Roughrider 4-game losing streak. Ken Miller's team wins its 10th. Same number of wins for Saskatchewan as last year. Richie Hall's valiant second half of the season falls just short. It's going to be the BC Lions and the Saskatchewan Roughriders in the Western semifinal a week tomorrow here at Mosaic. 31-23 the final. Saskatchewan wins it. So long from Regina.